Welcome to the Podcast Discovery Show, the podcast that's about other podcasts, where every single week we dive deep into a podcast we recommended last week. We have a book club style discussion, and at the end of the episode, we recommend a new show, and that's what we're going to listen to and talk about next week. I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach. And this week, we have a special recommendation from Paul from Varmints. He's helping us celebrate our 100-ish episodes. And he recommended not one, but two new discoveries for us. One is called Ding. It is a comedy, improv, songwriting podcast from the UK. And then we also have what was once a segment on Gravitybeard podcast has now turned into a full-fledged spin-off show. And they are also on the Podfix network with us, and we're friends with them. And we got to check out both these shows. That one's called This Week Today. So we have 2 for 1 this week.
Yeah, for sure. And so we're going to start with Ding. And we picked the last episode of their season 1. I believe it was episode 8. Mm-hmm. And it was called Just Bag It. And
Just Bag It.
I didn't know what to expect going into this show. We didn't really Paul was kind enough to not give us too many spoilers. He just kind of told us, just go in there, try it out, and you'll love it. And I didn't know these guys are from the UK, guys and gals. There's 3 hosts to the show. They're from the UK, and I don't know their backgrounds, but they obviously they're fairly talented musically. They know what they're doing when it comes to making some music, and that's what made it fun. And they're pretty funny. They're pretty good at improv. So it's Sarah, Isan, and Pete. Did I say his name right?
We'll find out. If not, we apologize. We're reading it. We definitely listened to the episode, and I cannot remember if it's Isan or Esan.
Yeah.
I don't know. They could both be wrong. We're sorry.
Okay, so the premise of the show is every single week they riff a little bit on a subject, and they try to find a prompt for a song that they're going to write. But not only do they find a prompt, they also pick a genre. So they pick a genre and a prompt, and then they just start writing a song, and that's it. I mean, it's a simple concept, but it's done in a way that it's very entertaining.
Yeah, and a lot of times I'm not really into, I guess you call it just, I don't listen to a ton of improv, just kind of comedy riffing and stuff, but it is really funny. We definitely were laughing in the office because we listened to this together on our Discord, which is something we're going to start doing. But we listened together, and I was laughing pretty much throughout this whole thing. And it's also cool to see it literally does just start as riffing. They all just get in there and they start kind of making jokes about whatever. Because, okay, this episode, the topic was self-checkout at the grocery store. Relatable, topical, everyone gets it. We live in a pandemic age. It's much better in a way because you still have to touch that nasty keypad. But other than that, less interaction, right? Self-checkout. And so they start riffing on just that premise at first. Like self-checkout, what does it make you think of?
Yeah, so they talk about, the things that are a pain in the butt about self-checkout, the things that bug them, the things that are funny, the things they do enjoy, and then they kind of like get a feel for what mood they want this song to be. And so not only was this self-checkout the prompt, but the genre that they picked was R&B, and it went so good together. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it did. No, I think they kind of came up with they came up. There was a lot of innuendo that was hilarious. There was something about eggs that I can't remember.
Excite me with your eggs.
Excite me with your eggs. Yeah, it was wild.
And come at me with your kumquats.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I did kind of, as they were riffing about it all, I was like, you know what? There is funny stuff about self-checkout. And it was just, it got my mind running in a way. And then it was also really funny. And then they start to kind of almost live compose a song. So they all somebody has a piano, and he's putting together chord structures. They pick a genre and they start getting the skeleton created for this song. And it's really interesting to see kind of how their minds work, and they start seeing how a song could form. And they almost go through lyrics and verses and things like that, and they start trying to hear what those could sound like. And they riff on that too. They riff on literally the entire process of song creation.
Yeah, no, and it's a blast. And then at the end of the show, they play the finished product, and it's really cool that you're able to hear, the final product, and you can hear a little bit of auto tune and stuff like that, but it sounds great. Like it was really good because they can sing, and obviously they can make some beats pretty good too. But the thing that I really liked, and we will have the link in the show notes, is they have a full playlist of their whole season on Spotify of just the songs that they wrote.
The end results, yeah.
So, and if you're in the live stream, we're going to play the song that we're talking about between episodes, so you guys can hear it. And no, but it was fun. It was goofy. They made it a sexy song somehow. Just bag it.
Yeah, no, and I really like. Okay, anybody, you should check this out because they use the checkout noises to very good effect in this song. It's really, really funny, and it really was completely enjoyable to listen to the whole way through. At the very beginning, it's hilarious. You're laughing. And then you kind of hear all the songs starting to come together, and then they play you this song. You're like, okay, wow, that's actually, you guys are a very talented group of people because, they can all sing. They're just throughout the episode, they're just throwing out lines, and they're all really talented. So it's really cool to see that type of a group all together making something cool and interesting out of a podcast like this.
Yeah, no, but it's a great show. I don't think the actual podcast was on Spotify, which I found was fascinating, is that the podcast isn't on Spotify, but their music is. But you can find them on a lot of the other platforms. I think the one that we found them on was like TuneIn. Was that the one?
I think so, but I think they're on Stitcher as well. That's a fairly large one. But yeah, we'll have links in the show notes for a way to find their show, and maybe we'll even send them to the website. We'll send them to the website so that you can pick your poison, find your platform that you think is good, and check it out, because we highly recommend you do. It's an absolutely incredible show. Had a great time listening to it. So if you like improv, if you like comedy, or if you like music, or a combination of the three, this is a great show for you to check out.
Yeah. And before we jump into our next episode that Paul recommended, we want to talk about a few of the really cool things that we've been working on to make your experience a little bit better and to create a little bit more content and maybe build a little bit more community around the show and podcasts in general.
So we have a lot of stuff we're working on right now. One of the things we're doing is we're trying to really beef up the opportunity to be on our Discord and to participate in the podcast. Because one of the things we've thought about kind of throughout this is we have a lot of people who have checked out the show based on one specific show they want to check out. But our vision for this at the very beginning was having a group of people who we would talk about a podcast we'd recommend one at the end of an episode. And then that entire group could send us their feedback, could even listen to it with us, could go through this entire process with us. And then when we talk about it the next week, they would know exactly what we're talking about, and they could send in their information. So we have started a listening segment on the Discord where we will be on Discord, and we're going to be playing the podcast that we're going to be talking about the next week. And so we can all talk about it together. We can all listen to it together. So that will be, we'll be putting that out on all of our socials. You'll be able to find those things. But yeah, we'd love to have you join us when we listen to these podcasts, so you can send the things you're thinking about.
Yeah, and in the long run, we want to integrate some watch parties where we can watch a movie together, and then we can talk about it. And especially if it has something to do with the podcast, we might be able to talk about, like we've done in the past when it was us three, me, Zach, and Josh. We would watch a movie if we were talking about a podcast that was talking about a movie, like when we watched The Wrath of Khan, or when we watched, what was it? Austin Powers.
Same weekend, Hurricane Weekend.
for stuff like that. And we would love to be able to do that kind of stuff with you. Now, I will say this, and this will segue into our next part. We are only wanting a certain amount of people in our Discord. If you have a Discord with like 400 people in there, then you can't communicate well with who's there. There's just too many people. So once we get to a specific number, we're probably going to put it behind a paywall for our patrons. So for now, it's free for you until we get to a certain number. So jump in there while you can, while it's free, and the rest will be you got to pay to get in there. So you will be the VIPs, the on the ground floor getting in early. So speaking of that, I want to talk about our Patreon a little bit. So we're going to revamp a little bit more on there. Right now, we do have some good stuff in there. We have some bloopers. I will say this: we are not producing near as many bloopers as we used to.
No, because now that we're live streaming it.
Now that we have you guys watching us, we've cleaned up the show a little bit. It's a little bit cleaner. I know maybe you're like, really? But no, it is.
You have no idea.
Trust me. You have no idea. But with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to have a lot of our old episodes that are still out right now are going to be kind of put in a vault, in an archive, specifically because they're not, hopefully not the same quality that we have now or that we're going towards, but also we want to have a backlog that people can access if they want to, like for real fans. That's the thing, is like real fans that like the show, they get it. They've seen how we've progressed and gotten better. But we don't want our new people that are coming in to listen to our really old episodes and be like judging us off of those.
It is complicated to work through because there is. We do kind of tell people start at the newest and work your way back.
Because we are trying to iterate to where our show becomes better over time, and that we can do everything that we can to make the show better. So that's what we're trying to do. And to get that, it's just $4 a month, which is literally 50 cents per episode for what we do, which is nothing. It's pennies. It's nothing, but it means the world to us. It would mean so much to us if we could turn this hobby, this thing that we've been doing for 4 years now almost, into a small side hustle that we can kind of expand and do more things with. We can reinvest into the show.
Yeah, and along those same lines, we have a couple different ways that you can follow or subscribe to what we're doing and help us get more visibility / get partnered with the platforms. We have a Twitch profile that if we start getting enough follows and subscriptions, we can get affiliate with Twitch, and essentially the same thing with YouTube. So if you wouldn't mind throwing a subscribe on either one of those platforms, we would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, so if you don't have enough money that you feel you don't have the bandwidth to, support us on Patreon, which we understand.
Yeah, I get that.
You can't. I listen to a lot of podcasts that have Patreons that I don't feel like I have enough money to send them money, even though I love the show. But something that you can do that's free is to just hit that subscribe button on YouTube or Twitch. Hit that follow button on Twitch. Both of those things would really. Oh yeah, Spotify for sure. It makes a big difference. It really does. I know it doesn't seem like it, but when everybody does it, it actually makes a big difference.
No, we wanted to say this kind of stuff because we're really bad at like the self-promotion part of this.
We really are.
But at the same time, you know what we really want? We really want everyone to get in touch with us. And I don't even know if there's a way to monetize the Facebook group, but we would love you to be in there and share your discoveries with us. And it's a very fun group, and we'd love to have you be a part of it. Honestly, that's our main goal, is to create a community around the show where we can all talk about cool things we've discovered all the time. But thanks so much for listening.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys. So with that, let's jump back into what we were talking about, and that is This Week Today from Gravitybeard. So I'll preface it this way. Paul from Varmints, when he interviewed us, was telling us how This Week Today just had a spin-off from Gravitybeard where they're having their own feed. And it was true. They did. But at the time of that recording on Friday, a week from today, or a week ago today, they only had a 3-minute trailer. So we couldn't recommend that. So we recommended an episode from the Gravitybeard feed, which was episode 100. it was episode 100 of This Week Today, which I don't remember what episode of Gravitybeard that
It's like
was.
254.
Yeah. Yeah. So now there is a separate feed and they do have episodes. I think it was like 2 days later they came out with their first full episode. I'm like, dang it. We could have talked about that one. But
yeah, we can link them both in the show notes. If you'd like to check it out, you can find all of this in the show notes. We'll have them both.
But for sure, go check out This Week Today. Good friends of the show, Gravitybeard. We've been on their show a few times with different things, with Blunder Dogs and stuff like that. I think Toph called in.
Florida Man.
They birthed Florida Man. That sounds weird when I put it that way.
It does. Saying birth is different.
They birthed me. The show is hosted by Toph, who is Chris Green. I don't know. I need to ask him where he got the nickname Toph. Everyone just calls him Toph. And Lord Saunders. And I don't know why they call him Lord Saunders, but yeah. So it's Toph and Lord Saunders. And they talk about all the things that have to do with what went on either today in history or this week in history. They talk about sports. They talk about, political stuff. They talk about stories. It's a great concept for a show.
It really is. It's essentially you get to look at a wide variety of genres just based on what time of year it is. It's a great idea, and it's also another show that was hilarious. Both of Paul's recommendations were really fun to listen to.
So on that episode, it was National Nudist Day, Zach, which is great. And then they talked about family nudist resorts. Did you know that there was family nudist resorts?
I didn't.
I didn't either.
I don't know. It's like, it seems weird to me, but also I fully admit that like American culture is different with like nudists and things like that. Cause I feel like even in Europe, there's like beaches or like they're semi-nude compared to like not here really. And so I do think there's some weird culture around this, but the idea of like, all right, kids, hop in the RV. We're going to the family nudist resort is weird. That is a weird premise to me.
So I was thinking, what would be some great family nudist activities that would be fun to do at a nudist resort?
Family activities.
I
don't know, bocce ball, slip and slide, twister,
okay.
lawn darts.
That sounds dangerous.
I can't really think of anything that's going to be better. You know what I mean? Like, what would be better in general?
If you're in a pool, you can play chicken.
Yeah.
Oh man, volleyball.
It's not better naked.
I don't think there's anything. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that's better naked. Remember, we listened to another show that talked about a story from a nudist colony, and they were talking about how the only thing that every nudist wears or has on is shoes. They always have shoes on. They got like sneakers.
Okay, so running sports, I guess. That seems terrible. Naked, like that's what I'm saying. As a male
or a female, it seems
it seems pretty
great.
uncomfortable in general. But I did not know that was a thing. I don't know what. Okay, through this we have figured out that, and before we tried to do a special at the beach because it was National Ice Cream Day, and we did eat the ice cream. You guys just didn't get to be a part of it, but I think there's a random holiday pretty much every day of the year.
Don't tell them that we were at a nudist colony resort. Please don't tell them that.
It's fine. Nothing was. We recorded only most of it. It's fine. But in the end,
by the way,
every single day, there is a random holiday that is like obscure and you don't know how it's not like a nationally recognized holiday. It's just like a holiday. And so we wanted to look up today's in honor of everything that This Week Today has done. We wanted to talk about today.
This week today.
Today is, and maybe the most boring possible choice for a holiday, National Financial Awareness Day.
Ooh, yay.
Happy National Financial Awareness Day, Kirk.
I am now aware of my finances.
Apparently, and first of all, I'm being facetious, but I do think it's important because I do think that there's a lot of illiteracy around finance in general, and there could be a lot done with it, but I don't think this is doing anything for that. I literally found this out because I looked up what holidays are today, and this is the holiday, and I don't really know how you celebrate this. This is more like a somber holiday. It's like, how poor are you?
I mean, what do you do when you wake up in the morning? You check your credit score and you see if you're winning or losing at adult life.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean that's your HP.
No, that's your XP. Okay, work on it.
Yeah,
that's your XP. Probably closer actually, because like if you hit 0, you're in trouble. No, but it's definitely something that's cool. And then it's an LA Times article, and it's pretty good because they go to UCLA and other different doctors, and they talk to them about how many people are pretty good with their understanding of finances. And so here's a pretty interesting one. In a recent survey on financial literacy conducted for the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, found that a slim majority of the U.S. adults, 57%, give themselves top marks for their knowledge of personal finances. And then 13% of the more than 2,000 survey respondents said they aren't sure they fully understand their money situation. And that seems weird. You know, it seems weird that like it can be that set apart. So we don't have to get on all that. This isn't the other Discovery show, but today is National Financial Awareness Day. So maybe just think about it. And then if you need to, have some ice cream afterwards, because sometimes that helps.
It does. This week today also mentioned that on that episode, Disneyland had opened on that day, and I don't remember what year it was.
It's weird you picked up on that one.
I did pick up on that one. Then they talked about sports, and that's all I wrote down is they talked about sports.
Talked about sports. No reference at all. Disneyland and sports.
They did mention that Amazon and Twitter launched on that week, which is really cool. We use both of those a lot.
Yep. We do.
And then they talked about a news story, which is what the namesake of the episode was from. And I'm not going to lie, the way that Toph told it, I was on pinhooks. I'm like, is this a really depressing, horrible story?
I was wondering if he was going to go there because they do have like some dark comedy going throughout the episode. I was like, oh
sometimes
God,
this
one might go wrong. This might go very wrong.
So the story was a lady was pregnant and she was needing to give birth and needing to go to the hospital, and her mom was driving her there. Long story short, they got in a wreck. Police arrive. The lady says, I had the baby, but I don't know where the baby's at. And they had to look for the baby. And the baby was somehow under the seat, but completely unharmed. Still attached to the umbilical cord.
Yeah, there's knocked
Crazy
off.
Story.
They knocked off a couple mummified McDonald's fries, and the baby was fine. That was the question. They're like, where was the baby? And that's the moment where all of us were like, oh no. Is this story about to get weird? But no, the baby was fine. They found the baby, and it was okay. Find the
baby. And another thing that I love about, I think this is pretty much in all of their shows, or maybe just this week today, but they do ads that are made from our friends over from another Podfix show, which is Weird With Us. They make these preposterous, ridiculous ads, and they play them in the middle of their show like the real ads. I think this one was dinner pigeons, and it's pigeons that watch you while you eat dinner.
Who doesn't want that?
I mean, as they said in the ad, dinner tastes better when you're being watched by a pigeon.
Dinner feels different for sure if you're being watched by a pigeon. But yeah, really funny show. You learn a lot about that. It's funny because they are goofing off the whole time, but you do like learn things about obscure holidays and obscure events that happen throughout time. So it's really one of those that you get both worlds. You get something funny and easy to listen to, and occasionally pick up little snippets of wisdom. Yeah,
and real quick, Josh did talk in the chat about some other activities that would be good to do at a nudist resort.
Okay, let's go.
And that is horseshoes.
Horseshoes, okay, sure.
Paintball.
Dangerous. Dangerous. And what was the last one?
Yoga.
Yoga? Okay. Yoga makes maybe the most sense out of that entire list. Because
I want to make sure I get there early and end up in the front row. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, we learned from that Rhett and Link podcast that that's common courtesy. If you're like the new jabroni in town, you go to the front. But yeah, it's another really hilarious show. Thanks so much to Paul from Varmints for recommending 2 really funny shows that we had a great time listening to.
Yes, thanks so much, Paul. We really appreciate it, and it was fun listening. It really was. And I really like discovering shows that I didn't discover myself. That someone that we know and in our circles discovered. So, again, if you discover a show, hit us up on all the socials. We have a phone number that you can call and leave a message as well. Speaking of that, we got a phone call from another friend of the show from Planthropology, good Vikram. He sent us a recommendation, and Zach's going to play that one
right now.
Hey guys, it is Vikram from the Planthropology podcast, and I'm just calling in with a quick recommendation for y'all. I think you guys really need to check out the Petri Dish podcast. Sean and Nathan are 2 of the nicest guys in podcasting. They are great at supporting the community and spreading the love around, but they really just have a funny science show. It's definitely not safe for work, and it's pretty irreverent, but they tackle some big science issues in a fun way, have great conversations, and it is something I think you would really enjoy if you guys like ologies. Y'all keep up the good work, keep having fun, and I hope to talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Okay, so our next recommendation for next week, thanks to Vikram over at Planthropology, is called the Petri Dish podcast.
All right. I love science stuff, so I'm excited. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can tell by a lot of the discoveries that I bring to the Podcast Discovery Club that a lot of them are science-based, but science is awesome, and there's so many cool things to discover, and there's so many things that you probably didn't know about before.
It's either science or Disney.
So yeah, we're going to talk about the Petri Dish podcast, episode 10 about Extremophiles, and episode number 15 about space. So we got some science stuff in the hopper, guys. I'm excited to.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
All right. And another great week of discoveries. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for participating in our 100-ish episodes. It's been great. And if you have a recommendation, call the hotline. We'd love to hear it, and we'd love to listen to your show.
And remember,
there's always more to discover.
Hey, you remembered it this time.
I'm getting better.
Thank you for listening to the Podcast Discovery Show. We have a few things we'd like to tell you. First, we would love to hear from you on Twitter at the PDS Official, or in our Facebook group, the Podcast Discovery Club.
Secondly, leaving a rating or review on iTunes helps tremendously in giving us visibility and also visibility to the podcast that we recommend. You can also check out our Patreon page to get exclusive bloopers, old episode archives, and other exclusive content while supporting the show.
Finally, seriously, get in touch. We'd love to hear from you about what you love about podcasts. And thank you for being a part of all of the things that we do.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network.